Hi everyone, Stephen here at Teach Me Music, and today we're going to be talking about understanding tab and also what is tab in general. So let's put that straight to bed. What is tab? Well, tab is short for tablature, and no one really calls it tablature, it's just that's the full title. So you can kind of disregard that statement and that term, but the idea is everyone will say tab, and tab is spelled T-A-B. And that is a visual representation of the strings and the notes that you need to play on bass guitar, whether it's for a scale, big fancy word. It's okay if you don't know what it means. It's basically just a term that you'll learn in music. So tab is used to represent scales, arpeggios, chords, songs, bass lines. Anything that you actually need to play on the instrument can be represented in tab. And that is the most simple and the first kind of visual representation of music that most bass players learn. So how do you actually read tab? That's probably the next question on your mind. So obviously let's answer that. Reading tab is really simple. Like, it's the simplest thing ever. You just need to know how to look at it. And what I mean by that is literally how to look at your bass guitar. So if you've got your bass guitar like this on your lap or across your knee with the strap, etc., so it looks like this, all you need to do is to flip it so it's flat. So it's literally like this. And tab is a bird's eye view of how you look at the bass in this point of view or this angle. And that is pretty much the easiest way to look at it. So tab, if you're playing a 4-string bass, has 4 lines, and each line represents a string. So the bottom line of tab is actually the string closest to me or closest to you. And then the top line of tab is the string furthest away from me and furthest away from you. Obviously you got 2 lines and 2 strings in the middle. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out which string is which. So bottom string or bottom line is the one closest to us. Then the one just above that in tab is the one just below, if we're looking at it like this. And then the next one is the one obviously just above it in tab. And then we finally get to the top line of tab, which is the string furthest away from me when I have it like this. So if you're playing a gig, or visually think you're playing a gig, or if you're sat there with the bass on your lap like this at the moment, the idea is that string right here, the one closest to me, is the bottom line of tab, and this one, which is the furthest away, is the top line of tab. And that's the reason why some people get it wrong. Some people read tab the wrong way. So if you ever get stuck and you ever think this sounds wrong, I don't understand what's going on, why is the tab wrong, why does this not sound right? The idea is if you just flip it very quickly, have a look and go, okay, yeah, I'm playing it the wrong way round. And if you do this a few times, I guarantee it will sink into your memory, you'll remember it, and then tab becomes the easiest thing to read. So that covers the 4 lines of tab, but what happens if we have 5 lines? What happens if we have 6 lines? Well, if you have 5 lines, you should be playing a 5-string bass, and the same rules apply. And if you have 6 lines of tab, you're either reading guitar tab, electric guitar tab, so stop reading it, that's the wrong instrument, or you've got a 6-string bass, and obviously the same rules apply, where the string closest to me is always the bottom line, and the line at the top of tab is the one furthest away. It's just the fact that we've got 6 strings rather than 4. So that is one aspect of tab. Well, what is the other aspect? Tab has numbers. It can have 1, it can have 0, it can have 24, it can have 12. It literally can have any number as long as we have the right number of frets for the bass guitar. And this is probably going to be the thing that you'll get wrong to start with the most, so take this really slow. So if we take the top line of tab, which is this string right here for me, because it's the one furthest away, if I said 0, and you'll see it on the screen visually, if I told you to play a 0, it means you play it as an open string, which means that your fretting hand, if you don't know what I mean by fretting hand, then you need to go and watch my left versus right video before you watch this one. My fretting hand does nothing, so literally put it in the air like you just don't care, or leave it on your knee, and with your plucking hand, you run your finger across the string. That note right there is a 0 on the top line of tab because that's the string that I'm playing. Makes sense, right? Nice and easy. If I then wrote a 1 on the same line, which you'll see visually represented, it means that I'm taking my fretting hand, playing just before the first fret. That is now a 1 on the top line of tab, which is my G string. Obviously, we're going to then go to 2 if I wrote a 2 on the same line, and so forth. If it was 3, if it was 5, if it was 12, all you've got to do is count up the frets, make sure that you've got the right one, play just before the metal because that's the fret, and then just make sure it's on the right string. And this is something that I definitely think you should do and consider because there's 2 ways to approach it. So when you're reading tab, because you will be reading tab for a very long time, especially playing bass, you either do one or the other. So you either read the line, the string first, and then find the number, which is the fret, and you do it in that order every single time you play a note, because then you're not going to mess it up. Or you do what I do, which is if I'm reading tab, I read the fret first, so the number, and then I look at what line or what string it's on. And you get the same effect, you get the same note, you get the same correct part that you're playing. It's just which one do you prefer to do first? Do you prefer to get the string right first, or do you prefer to get the fret right first? One will definitely be easier than the other, so make sure that you're picking the one that's best suitable for yourself. And then if someone says you're doing it wrong, just smack them. Don't smack anyone. Mentally, and just tell them that at least you're getting the right note, and it doesn't matter how you do it, whether it's string or whether it's fret first. So let's just play a few notes together so you definitely know exactly how to read tab moving forward. So this string right here, this is the bottom line of tab, and you'll see a 3 on that line now. And what you want to do is take any finger on your fretting hand just before the 3rd fret, push down, and then obviously it's this string right here. Run your index or middle finger over the string. That is the 3 on the bottom line of tab. That's it. Then if we play the 3 on the next line up from tab, remember that we're going this way on the bass guitar. So we're going to jump down a string, and down means towards the floor. And then it's the 3rd fret still, so finger on the 3rd fret, but we're on this string instead, and then just play it nice and lightly. That is the 3rd fret on that line of tab. Then if we jump down to the next one, so when I say jump down, I mean we're going towards the floor on the physical bass, but we're going up in tab because obviously we're reading up the page. So we're now on the 3rd line of tab from the bottom, and this is a 3 again. So 3rd on the 3rd line, that's that one. Really, really dead simple. All you've got to do is find the number, find the string, which is the line. You're all good to go. You'll never get it wrong. And just to obviously add a few more to it so you can play along, then let's do a few more. So the 5th fret on the top line of tab would be right here, because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So finger on the top line of tab, which is the G string on the bass guitar. Then if we did a 7 on the bottom line of tab, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right there on the bottom line of tab, which is the string closest to me. There you go. Absolutely fine. If you can play all those notes with me, and obviously you can pause it and have a look at what it's got on the screen, or download the PDF, etc., just so you can play it in your own time. If you can do that and you can read that, you can understand tab. Tab never changes. There's other stuff that we'll look at in later lessons where we use certain symbols and certain markers, but once again, it's just 4 lines which represent the strings, and the numbers represent the frets. That's all you need to know for now, and if you can do that, you can start learning any song you like, and you can start understanding all the stuff that I'm going to teach you in the videos coming very soon. So make sure all that makes sense. double check everything, and when you're ready, we'll see you in the next video.